So I don't intend to necessarily have a greatest of all time conversation about the bantamweights when I lay out the show today. But the Weekly Scraps, Aljamain Sterling's podcast, put out a question suggesting that if Aljamain Sterling beats Henry Cejudo in less than 3 weeks now, that he is the greatest bantamweight of all time. And when Trevin 5-Star Jones or whomever it was got an opportunity to fight Cody Garbrandt recently, he said, there aren't that many former champions at 135 pounds. Never mind who might be the greatest of all time. Now, Dominic Cruz is one of my best friends. Certainly to me, He's the guy, but he hasn't competed all that often in the UFC. So I would say unequivocally, if Aljamain Sterling adds a Henry Cejudo scalp to his resume on May 6th, Aljamain Sterling's the greatest bantamweight of all time.
I think it's a no-brainer.
It really is.
It really is a no-brainer. I don't think we need the Weekly Scraps to tell us that. I think it's 100% a no-brainer. It really is, and I think we got a kid with a lot of confidence. Again, the adversity he's been through, I think, only made him stronger. It's that old saying: "Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger." I think he's an example of that, and I'm really super excited for this fight.
I really bring that up in the context of how much is on the line with this fight against Henry Cejudo. What type of Henry Cejudo are you expecting? I mean, you expect this guy to be in the best shape of his life? Come on.
I 100% expect him to be in the best shape of his life. I don't think Henry's stupid. I think he's a student of the game, too. I like listening to him talk. He's very practical. I think he keeps it simple. And I think that's the way he's going to approach this fight. But he's 100% going to be in shape. If he's not...
Oh, he'll be in shape. Neuroforce 1. Yeah, no, I was totally messing around. Again, I got to be careful, right? No, but it is interesting. You see, he got a huge cut early on in training camp. I don't know if you saw any of the videos. And he was stitched up for much of this training camp, which maybe is a non-factor. But to me, I think it's a factor. But I'm fascinated to see how he comes back, just given the long layoff. I'm fascinated to sit down with Henry in a fighter meeting and find out what his motivation is right now. Certainly adding a win over Aljamain Sterling and becoming a 2-time UFC bantamweight champion is a huge thing. But does he just see this as a springboard to featherweight to try to become C4? Is he coming back for monetary reasons? I just think it's interesting, the timing, the division, and everything else.
Yeah, I think money's always at the top of the equation. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's been out for a couple of years. Doesn't look like he's been killing. We don't really know, but it doesn't look like he's been killing it with anything. Wasn't he supposed to go into real estate or something? It seemed like he had a game plan when he retired. I'm not sure that came to fruition. Right. But if it didn't, I think that's probably why, he feels like this is a good fight for him. He feels like it is a springboard. Maybe if he wins, that he goes on to something bigger. So I think he's a guy that's playing chess and looking down the line a little bit for sure. Yep.
Global pandemic, as Cody suggests, probably didn't help as far as his real estate endeavors. But yeah, it will be interesting. Yeah. Sometimes you don't always get the right answers. I love Henry. We have a good relationship. I've tried to get him on the podcast in the lead up to this fight. And I think his focus is on his YouTube channel, and he has politely denied that request. Maybe if I go with your boy Aljo directly, he'll actually come on the program.
Aljo, he'll 100% come on the program.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on Max Holloway. Because just another chapter in a career of brilliance for one of the greatest featherweights of all time, Ray.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he made that. He took a tough kid. Allen looked good. He definitely deserved to be there. I think it'll be a great learning experience for him and growing fight. But man, I'm going to say, look, it was. I don't know I think it was a close fight, but Max just made it look like a sparring session where he was playing around. That's the craziness to me, is that he took a real contender who looks like he hits like, a freight train. He just, the way, Kenny, the way he no-sells getting hit is unbelievable too. Like if the volume is turned down, you're not listening to the announcers go, "Oh, what a shot." You're going to think nothing happened. He doesn't even flinch. He acts like it's nothing. The fight's over. He's talking like he's 3 weeks before the fight. I thought it was incredible for a variety of reasons that he just took a talented kid and made it look really simple. And, the last couple of seconds when that guy really wanted to throw down, he threw down with him and knocked him down. So, I think it was his plan to go in, like he said, and hit, not get hit. Didn't exactly go his way, but he kind of, to me, made it look easy.
Kenny, speaking of not getting hit, I'm not sure there's any professional sport in the world whose elite athletes train or work towards a common goal so differently. And I bring it up in the context of Max Holloway, who doesn't spar, juxtaposed against somebody like Dominic Cruz, who needs to spar tons and tons and tons of rounds over 6 months to get right. And Kenny, I'm not suggesting that one approach is better than the other, but it's crazy in a sport at this level that some guys don't spar and some guys feel like it's the lifeblood of their whole training camp.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with, not only the way that they run camps, the way the coaches run camps, but also I think, how many years they've been in the game.
Without a doubt.
I think, it's like Robbie Lawler, after coming from, the Militic Fighting Systems camps for all those years, he didn't want to spar after that. He realized that he needed to, and it worked for him. It worked for him, and it worked for certain people. But at some point, especially early on in your career, I was probably sparring 5 times a week, honestly. Nothing crazy. I'm not trying to knock each other out every single day, but that helped me. And then over time, I didn't have to do as much, right? So it depends. Everyone's different. But as far as sharpening your sword and getting ready for a fight, it's in my mind, it has to be a large aspect of your camps.
I'll tell you. And again, if you're a Wonder Boy Thompson, they look, first of all, if you have to define sparring, they're play sparring for sure. They're not maybe going in there with the intent of bringing in new guys and testing themselves that way, but they're 100% play sparring. They're getting the timing down. Wonder Boy never really sparred that hard. He's got the length. He's got, the weight. I think the guys that are on the outside that can fight on the outside, like Max is a tall guy. He's got a lot of fights. He was always active. Yeah, so it's almost like in Thailand, Kenny. They're always fighting once a month. Why are they sparring? So they develop that play sparring. So the guys that are active, they don't really have to spar. It's because they just fought 3 months ago. It's not Dominic would get injured. He'd be out for 2 years. Yeah, he has to get those juices flowing. How is he not going to do that? He has to spar. And then you have to bring in the right sparring partners if you want to do that and make sure that nothing's crazy. But I think there's a certain type of fighter like the Holloways, the Wonder Boy Thompsons that can get away with it because what they do so good, that it's not that important to them. But they are in the gym play sparring every day. I've seen it even in my gym. We got guys that do that, but every day they're playing around. They're not banging it out every day, but they're certainly getting their timing and punches are coming at them. It's not like you can't think that Max Holloway just did strength and conditioning and did nothing. He's playing around with people for sure. You could see it in his movement, but he's been, how many fights? This guy's been around forever at this point. We were talking about his fight with Dennis Bermudez yesterday.
Yeah.
Think about how long ago was that? Conor McGregor at 45. Those days are gone.